Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. I am Commissioner and Chair Rick Vest. To my left, Commissioner Matt Schulte, and to my right, Commissioner Chelsea Johnson. Would you please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, please begin the meeting.
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meeting Act is located at the wall of the rear of the hearing room. All written materials to be discussed at today's meeting can be viewed at the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Printing options are available upon request. Brings us to item 1, minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on May 13th, 2025.
I move approval of the minutes.
All second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Johnson.
Abstain.
Schulte.
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 2, claims. 2A, approval of the claims processed through May 16th, 2025. And I'll note there is an amendment for the payroll.
I move approval of the claims and to include as well as the payroll dated May 22nd.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve item 2A, including the payroll disbursements. Please call the roll.
Schulte.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. 2B, approval of a claim to El Centro de las Americas in the amount of $21,759.29.
I move approval.
Second.
Motion second to approve. Please call the roll.
Johnson.
Yes.
Schulte.
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. 2C, approval of a claim to the Mediation Center in the amount of $11,450.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and second. Please call the roll.
Johnson.
Yes.
Schulte.
Yes.
Vest.
Abstain.
Motion carries. 2D, approval of the claims, including billings for goods and services beyond the 90-day time period provided in Nebraska Revised Statute, Chapter 23-135, for Pine Lake Behavioral Health, dated May 19th, 2025, for a total of $595.57, and Rebecca M. McCracken, dated May 19th, 2025, for a total of $96.90.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion second to approve. Please call the roll.
Johnson.
Yes.
Schulte.
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 3 is our consent items. These are routine business items that are expected to be adopted without dissent. Any individual item may be removed for special discussion and consideration by a commissioner by any member of the public without prior notice. Unless there is an exception, these items will be approved as one single vote of the Board of Commissioners. These items are the approval of A, amendments to the following county contracts. C-22-0326 with Barry, Dunn, McNeil, and Parker LLC for strategic planning services. C-20-0470 with Capsan Sanitary Supply for janitorial and sanitation supplies, equipment, and related services. C-23-0695 with the Board of Regents of the University of Nebraska on behalf of the University of Nebraska Lincoln's Law Psychology Program for the analysis of juvenile justice data and adult criminal justice data. C-21-0468 with the Board of Regents of the University of Nebraska on behalf of the University of Nebraska Lincoln Law Psychology Program for the Youth Mental Health Diversion Program. B, amendments to the following county contracts for the annual county snow removal motor grader services. C-23-0797 with Van Dorn Valley Construction LLC. C-23-0796 with K2 Real Estate Development doing business as K2 Construction. C-23-0798 with Ganna Trucking and Excavating. C, right-of-way contract with 5910 LLC, Southwest 58th Street and West Sotilla Road in the amount of $1,027. D, grant contracts with the following: the Clyde Malone Community Center for the Yes to Health Mental Health and Wellness Program in the amount of $31,050. Food Fort Lincoln for the Food Fort Bus Program in the amount of $7,762.50. The Good Neighbor Community Center for the Basic and Emergency Needs and Food Distribution Program in the amount of $132,480. Hope Spoke for the Outpatient Service Agreement Program in the amount of $31,981.50. Lighthouse for the After School Program in the amount of $31,050. Morning Hope Grief Center for the New Grief Support Counselor Program in the amount of $26,083.70. St. Monica's Behavioral Health Services for Women for the Peer Support Program in the amount of $38,553.75. Visionary Youth for the Community Impact Program in the amount of $8,021.25. That is our consent items.
I'd like to consider A1 separately from the rest of the consent items.
Okay.
So I'll move approval of the consent items except for A1.
We have a second. Okay. Approval of all consent items except A1. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Motion carries. That'll return us to 3A1C-22-0326 with Barry, Dunn, McNeil, Parker, LCE for strategic planning services.
Okay. So we've had a long discussion about this and looked at different options. This is the firm that did the strategic planning services several years ago, 3 years ago, I believe. And I know the commissioners that are not here today do support continuing this contract. So I'm going to make a motion that we approve item 3A1.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I guess my continued concern is that there's several local companies that could do this, and I feel like we should, in a time when we got tight budget, not spend our money on travel and look for a local option to do this.
Yeah. And those concerns were raised last week and discussed in depth. So no further discussion. Please call the roll.
Johnson,
Yes.
Schulte,
No.
Best.
Yes.
Motion carries. Commissioners, that brings us to item 4, a public hearing. A corporate manager liquor license amendment application for Todd E. Tinnen in connection with a Class C liquor license for Seostris Temple Holding Corporation.
We'll now open the public hearing. Is there anyone here wishing to speak on the corporate manager liquor license? Could be
My name's Henry Schultz. I'm
sworn
we
in
got
by
to
the clerk.
Where are you at?
We swear both of you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
They do.
Can you both state your name for the record?
My name's Henry Schultz. I'm treasurer of Seostris Shrine.
I'm Todd Tinian, Director General of Seostris Shrine.
And we'll answer any questions that you may have over this license and the change.
Just tell us about the event you're sponsoring. sir.
Well, we have a in-house bar that we have for our own private events, for our rental events, for different things that we do. And liquor license says you have to have an overall bar manager who's licensed and approved by them, you, etc. And our last one decided he didn't want to do it anymore, so therefore Todd has stepped in, taken the training, gone through all that, got fingerprinted, did all those good things, and we're looking for permission for him to be licensed at this point.
Okay. And this is part of the process being
Right.
here today. Yeah. Any questions, commissioners, about this?
I think so.
I know you host a lot of events and do a lot of good work in our community, and just appreciate all your efforts to help make Lancaster County a better place. So thank you for being here.
Well, we appreciate your support and help too.
You're very welcome, sir. Thank you,
you.
gentlemen. Anyone else wishing to speak on this corporate manager liquor license? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Commissioners, that brings us to item 5, the public hearing action items. 5A, a resolution in the matter of the corporate manager liquor license amendment application for Todd E. Tinian in connection with the Class C liquor license for the Sostres Temple Holding Corporation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Schulte?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 6, new business. Item 6A, proclaiming May 2025 as Mental Health Awareness Month. And Commissioners, I do have a resolution to read into the record. Before the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Lancaster, Nebraska, in the matter proclaiming May 2025 as Mental Health Awareness Month in the County of Lancaster, Nebraska. Whereas, since 1949, May has been recognized nationally as Mental Health Awareness Month, providing an opportunity to raise awareness about mental health, reduce stigma, and promote mental health support resources. Whereas, mental health is an essential part of our overall well-being, impacting individuals, families, and communities across Lancaster County, Nebraska. Whereas, nearly 1 in 5 adults and 1 in 5 adolescents in the United States experience mental illness. Whereas, despite its prevalence, stigma surrounding mental health remains a barrier that prevents many people from seeking help they need and deserve. Whereas, engaging in the prevention, early identification, early intervention are crucial for the managing mental health conditions and improving quality of life. Whereas, the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Lancaster, Nebraska recognizes the importance of raising awareness, increasing access to care, and supporting the mental wellness of all individuals through education, open dialogue, and community action. Whereas the County Board extends its gratitude to those individuals and organizations that provide mental health support, services, and advocacy. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Lancaster, Nebraska, that May 2025 hereby is recognized as Mental Health Awareness Month in the County of Lancaster, Nebraska, that all individuals, organizations, and governmental entities in our community are encouraged to prioritize mental health and well-being, invest in prevention, early intervention, and support services, and work together to create a more compassionate and supportive society for those experiencing mental illness. In witness thereof, we have hereunto signed on May 20th, 2025, by the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Lancaster, Nebraska.
Mr. Kilpatrick.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeff Kilpatrick with Community Corrections. I have a number of individuals present with us today that do work with the mental health population. I think it's really important to give those folks recognition for the hard work that they do each and every day, working with an incredibly difficult group of individuals. So maybe they could stand. Wendy. Thank you.
Such a big issue, and most of us are able to ignore it except when the headlines burst upon us of someone who's suffering severe mental illness and takes very desperate actions, and it's so unfortunate. And we know that the efforts put in by folks like you all to help people avoid getting to that point, to treat it before it becomes headline worthy, is so commendable. So thank you all for your efforts. Commissioners?
I'd move approval of the proclamation.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Schulte?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes.
Motion carries. 6B, appointment of Tamara Sloan to the Lincoln Lancaster County Board of Health for a term to expire on April 15th, 2027.
We had a briefing last Thursday and met Miss Sloan. Any questions?
I move approval.
Second.
Motion second to approve. Really appreciate her experience as a business owner and as a mother and family member, adding her expertise to the Board of Health. Please call the roll.
Schulte?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes.
Motion carries. 6C, resolution in the matter authorizing the county board chair to sign the responsible charge services agreement, which amends county contract C-21-0377 related to a federal aid project on on 148th Street and Holder Street.
Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. This item and the item that follows it are in reference to the 148th and Holdridge Street Safety Project. This is for just, we develop these scopes as the project develops, and so this is just one more adder to that project. We're hopeful that we may be able to get this project to bid through NDOT in the next 6 to 8 weeks, so you're going to see some movement on this one.
Good, that's great. I'd move approval of, see, which one are we on? You said that's the next two, correct? D, move approval of D.
I think we need approval of C first.
C, sorry, move approval of C.
Oh, yeah,
And
I
just
scratched
the
it
thing
off.
that gets to be super difficult with these, Commissioner Schulte, is we have to have the authorization of the board to sign the contract, and then the contract, otherwise NDOT doesn't accept them. And so that's why you
Okay.
see them like this, which is always awkward, so I apologize.
No worries.
Motion to approve item C.
Second.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Johnson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries.
It was good to see these projects moving forward. You guys do a good job of keeping your finger on the pulse of them. So I'd move approval of D.
Second.
Do we got to read it into the record, right?
Oh,
Matt?
did he not? Sorry.
For the record, 6D, a responsible charge services agreement which amends County Contract C-21-0377 with the Nebraska Department of Transportation for responsible charge services as outlined in Exhibit A for a federal aid project on 148th Street and Holdridge Street. The cost of this agreement is not to exceed $10,844.27.
I'd move approval of item D.
Second.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Johnson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. 6E, contract with Pavers Incorporated to provide paving services on South 148th Street and Yankee Hill Road. The cost is not to exceed $2,599,666.08.
Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. The exhibit that I have placed up on the overhead shows the location of 148th Street that we plan to do this work on from approximately Yankee Hill to O Street.
148th is getting a little power up, it looks like, today. I'd move approval of E.
Second.
Motion and second to approve, please call the roll.
Johnson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. 6F, agreement with Modern HR Collaborative LLC to provide employee engagement consulting services to the county engineering in the amount of $15,000.
Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. This item is to continue the work that we started with federal mediation last fall. Unfortunately, we did an employee survey with federal mediation with the hope to have several internal focus groups focused on things that continue to be challenges in the department between labor and management. Federal mediation, we had someone come up from Omaha to help us with these things for a number of years. The Omaha office for federal mediation no longer exists, and the closest person is in Texas, and we were told that they're no longer able to assist us. So we would like to continue this work. Unfortunately, we need to continue it now with a private consultant.
I'd move approval of F.
Second.
Motion and second to approve, please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. 6G, recommendation from the purchasing agent on behalf of the county engineer to award contracts to Graham Tire Company of Lincoln LLC, Jensen Tire Company, doing business as Jensen Tire and Auto, and Troy Watson Automotive Incorporated, doing business as Watson Auto Service, for preventative maintenance of autos and light trucks in the total amount of $56,000.
Good morning, Chris Meyer, Road Superintendent, Lancaster County. So this contract is just for general maintenance of our fleet. This also serves the Sheriff's Department and all of the other people that we service. So they do oil changes and inspections and things like that. So we picked all three of these just to give us a little wiggle room, some options if, say, we need to get one cruiser in and out quicker, they have options. So,
Good deal. Move approval.
Second.
Motion second to approve, please call the roll.
Johnson,
Yes.
Schulte?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes.
Motion carries. Brings us to 6H, a contract with the Matt Talbot Kitchen and Outreach to support the transitional housing program for community corrections participant. The cost shall not exceed $50,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeff Kilpatrick with Community Corrections. This is a contract to provide transitional housing for 6 individuals that will be coming out of jail into our community.
I move approval.
Second, I do have a question. Is this a continued contract? Is this a new contract? What's the source
It's a
of the
continued
funding?
contract.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. It's a
Continued.
It's continued,
Continued.
right. The contract expires and we're renewing it.
And the source of the funding for this is just county dollars?
County dollars.
Okay.
So this will house 6 individuals coming out of jail for how long a period, Jeff?
For as long as they're under our supervision until they're able to find their own permanent housing.
Okay. It's such a big deal.
Generally, it's about 3 months or so.
Yeah. I know in attending the graduations for the drug program that they do within the jail, you hear stories about getting released and going back into the environment that got them put into jail in the first place. So really important to have a change of venue for these
Right,
folks.
right. Many of them coming out of jail have nothing, and this gets them their feet on the ground, and they're able to establish, a job and getting their life back together.
Hard to imagine the challenges of someone in that situation to re-script their life. So thank you. And we have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Schulte?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes.
Motion carries. 6I, an agreement with Marcus Hall to provide stop class instruction to participants eligible for the Lancaster County Traffic Diversion Program. The county will pay $125 per stop class instructed.
Jeff Kilpatrick with Community Corrections. This again is another contract that we're renewing with Marcus Hall to provide stop classes.
Second?
Motion and second to approve. Please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Schulte?
Yep.
Vest?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. 6J, agreement with the State of Nebraska Administrative Office of Courts and Probation for 2 probation officers to conduct pre-sentence investigations and reports. The cost shall not exceed $75,205.
Good morning, Jeff Curry, with Lancaster County Probation. This agreement's probably been close to 20 years between the state of Nebraska and the county. And we've proven through, each year that we've, saved thousands of dollars for the county with being able to process people through the justice system and the jail quicker that are in the county jail. Compared to if someone's outside, not in custody, on average it takes 20 to 25 days more to get those completed than in the jail. Since we have this agreement, we have that ability to get them done 20 to 25 days quicker. So it's been, really mutual benefit for probation and the county for years. So.
Move approval?
Second.
Motion second to approve. Please call the roll.
Schulte?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes.
Motion carries. 6K, amend and restated agreement for the formation of the Region 5 Community Human Services Program and Region 5 systems.
All right, this is an ongoing contract too, I believe.
I'll move approval of K.
Okay.
Second.
Motion second to approve. Please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Schulte?
Yep.
Vest?
Yes.
Motion carries. 6L, amend and restated agreement for the formation of the Region 5 Community Human Services Program and a PACE.
Move approval.
Morning, Commissioners.
Oh,
Candace Behrens from the Lancaster County Attorney's Office. The previous item, item K, and this item, item L, are the amended interlocal agreements. Amended interlocal agreement, which originally established Region 5 Community Human Services Program. with the Department of Health and Human Services and all of the counties in the Region 5 region. And so these are interlocal agreements that are now making separate agreements for a PACE and Region 5 systems. These were addressed with you long ago, and Commissioner Schulte raised some questions about who would control decisions regarding funding and whether the individual boards would be able to establish what funding would be required from the counties. Those issues, I think, we have resolved in those agreements now, and it is clear that any funding decisions would be made by the county board. So I would support that you approve these agreements.
Great, thanks for commenting on that. I appreciate it. I will move approval of L now.
Second.
Very good. Motion and second to approve L. Please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Schulte?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes.
Motion carries. 6M, request from the Integrated Behavioral Health Services to encumber property located at 3220 North 14th Street, Lincoln, Nebraska.
I'll second. This is one of our ARPA fund projects this is an opportunity for us just to give them the opportunity to take full advantage of the funds we've given them to provide services to the community. So I had good conversation with their directors, and so I intend to support this.
And to be clear, this is a group that takes on folks that most people don't want anything to do with. Very difficult cases, as we pointed to. So, motion and second to approve. Please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Schulte?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes.
Motion carries. 6N, termination of a subaward agreement with Soval Solutions LLC to evaluate a community corrections transitional housing program due to the SAMHSA grant funding being relinquished.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeff Kilpatrick. This is a letter terminating the contract that we were going to have with Mitch Herron, who was going to do the evaluation of the SAMHSA grant for the folks that we were going to supervise from the drug court that we relinquished last week.
Yeah, I mean, this was something that we talked about last week. Most prudent at this time to relinquish the grant with the understanding that in the future there may be a better opportunity to use it.
Right.
I'd move approval.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Please call the roll.
Schulte?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Motion carries. 6O, agreement with Securitas Technology Corporation to replace and reconfigure video server equipment at the Youth Services Center. Total cost of the county is $55,847.02.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brad Alexander, Lancaster County Youth Services Center. First of all, thank you for getting this on the agenda rather quickly. You know, I guess no good deed goes unpunished. We were trying to put in a UPS on May 13th, and when they took the system down, the servers for the cameras did not come back up. And they have not been able to do anything with our current server, so we're in a position right now where we don't have cameras. I would like to say that the kids and staff are safe, but this is a really important issue that needs to be addressed, and I appreciate your consideration.
Okay, very good.
How this will get it up and running pretty quickly?
Right now, I mean, we've been down a week, and I'm thinking, I mean, it could be another 3 weeks.
Oh, wow. Well, let's get it going. I'd move approval.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Thanks for bringing this to our attention.
Yes, sir. Thank you all.
Please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Schulte?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes.
Motion carries. 6P, recommendation from the purchasing agent on behalf of Records Management to award a contract to Midwest Storage Solutions for office furniture and installation in the amount of $89,594.
Good morning. It's a little bit complicated here, so I wanted to make sure you knew what was kind of happening here. So the contract for Midwest is to supply additional shelving to the MSC building, as well as move our current shelving. The next item was to provide new office furniture, move our current office furniture. The one bid we got to move the boxes from the posted bid was cost prohibitive. So we're looking at other options, and the original quote we got back in May of '24, that company is still provided the same bid to do that work still. So an additional documentation I have, which didn't make it on the agenda, to move the boxes in addition to that is another $80,000.
This is for the relocation of records management out to the new building, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize shelves could be that expensive.
Yeah.
It's a lot of shelves.
No, we know that.
But I mean, I've been in there. I've seen these are not the kind of shelves you go buy at Menards.
But it is using the existing shelving.
Yeah.
Most of that, 80,000 of that 89 is to tear down, move, and reassemble the existing shelving.
Okay.
New shelving was about double that price.
That price. Good. Well.
One question. This is all within this year's budget then?
It'll be next year's budget. The soonest we would start moving shelving and boxes would be mid to late June. So if there's any cost allocated this fiscal year, it'd be a very small percentage.
We're going to see you later this
Yeah,
morning. I
just
understand.
in a little bit here.
All right, very good.
I'd move approval.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Please call the roll.
Johnson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Motion carries. 6Q, recommendation from the purchasing agent on behalf of Records Management to award a contract to Office Interiors and Design for office furniture and installation in the amount of $66,899.33.
I'd move approval.
Second.
Which item are we on?
6Q,
Q. Okay, thank you. Motion and second to approve. Please call the roll.
Johnson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
6R, acceptance of a state grant award and special conditions from the Nebraska Crime Commission in the amount of $1,123,748.
I will move approval, but maybe before I do that, I'll just say I serve on the JDI group and I'm familiar with some of this funding. It's probably one of the bigger grants we get. I might be the biggest grant we get in for human services. And so it gets distributed to some different organizations. It's all state money, so move approval.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yep.
Johnson,
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Motion carries. 6S, consideration and approval for the following agreements and applications for the purpose of engaging Voya Financial as administrator and trustee of the county's universal and premium health reimbursement arrangement, HRA plans beginning on June 1st, 2025. A employer service agreement with Voya Retirement and Surety and Annuity Company for administrative services. A trust agreement appointing Voya Institutional Trust Company as trustee of the Universal and Premium HRA plan funds, and applications to Voya Retirement Insurance and Annuity Company for the unallocated fixed group funding agreement for the Premium PEP plan and Universal PEP plan.
I'll second it.
Motion and second to approve. Please call the roll.
Johnson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Motion carries. 6T, notice of settlement agreement and claim with a former county employee.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion second to approve. Please call the roll.
Johnson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 7 is reserved for legislative update.
I have no items to update on. Commissioners, anything? But we'll move on.
Item 8, public comment. Members of the public wishing to speak on items related to county business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
Any members of the public wishing to comment, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll move forward.
9, announcements. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting, including budget hearings, on Thursday, May 22nd, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building. Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold its next regular meeting on Tuesday, May 27th, 2025 at 9 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live on LNK TV. LNK TV is available on Allo Channel 2 and Spectrum Channel 1300. For the rebroadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on YouTube and Facebook. LNK TV apps are available on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Item 10 is adjournment.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second to adjourn. Please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Schulte?
Yep.
Vest?
Yes,
Motion carries.
we are adjourned. I will now open the Lancaster County Board of Equalization meeting for Tuesday, May 20th, 2025.
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located at the wall at the rear of the hearing room. All written materials to be discussed at today's meeting can be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Printing options are available upon request. Brings us to item 1, minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held on Tuesday, May 5th, 2025.
Move approval.
You weren't on the 5th?
No.
It's 2 weeks ago. I will second. Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Johnson?
Abstain.
Schulte?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes.
Motion carries. Then item 2 is the additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls.
I move approval of the additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls.
I will second. Please call the roll.
Schulte?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes. Motion.
Motion carries. Item 3, public hearings. First public hearing is on notice of proposed change in exemption status for the following: for Nebraska Lutheran Campus Ministry, Nebraska Children's Home Society, Heartland Bible Church of Lincoln, City Light Lincoln Church of the Christian and Missionary Alliance, 2 properties from Cedars Home for Children Foundation Incorporated, the Housing Authority of City of Lincoln, and 2 parcels for Southwood Lutheran Church.
Morning, Commissioners. Jacob Van Pelt from the Assessor's Office.
Open and swear again.
We will now open the public hearing.
And raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
Good morning, Commissioners. Sorry about that. Jacob Van Pelt, the Assessor's Office. For item A, all of these parcels have changed ownership from what was originally applied or approved under. And this is just to notify them that the exemption is being removed from the property due to the ownership change. Both the buyers, or all of the buyers and the sellers, have been notified at this time.
So you're saying these are being, all or most of them are being sold where they were previously owned by a nonprofit that was exempt from property taxes, and now it's being owned by somebody else, and so they're no longer exempt?
Correct.
Okay. Good.
We have 7 parcels then. That's what I'm seeing on the record.
Correct.
I apologize.
Hold on a second. 7, you said 7 parcels. There's 9 pages in the attached document. Is it 7 organizations maybe?
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
guess.
and some of them have 2 parcels there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. So everyone's been notified. I guess if anyone will know if anyone has a disagreement here in a few minutes.
Yes, sir.
You'll be available to answer any
Yes, sir.
questions. Thank you, sir. We have, is there anyone, I'm going to ask if there's anyone else wishing to speak during this public hearing on any of the parcels that are listed. And Mr. Clerk, maybe we should read those into the record?
Sure.
That works.
Yeah, the parcels for item 3A are from Nebraska Lutheran Campus Ministry, Nebraska Children's Home Society, Heartland Bible Church of Lincoln, City Light Lincoln Church of the Christian and Missionary Alliance, Cedars Home for Children Foundation Incorporated, 2 parcels, the Housing Authority of the City of Lincoln, and Southwood Lutheran Church, 2 parcels.
So, any members of the public wishing to testify on these proposed changes in exemption status? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing for item 3A.
Next up, the public hearing for item 3B, the 2025 451 exemption applications.
Okay. We'll now open the public hearing for item 3B.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Again, Jacob Manfeld, Assessor's Office. So we have 19 total applications here. These are the timely filed new 451 applications for 2025. We have broken them up by the assessor recommendation on them, just to make it a little easier to understand. So the first 9, we are recommending approval. We can go through them individually if you'd like, but everything appears to be under the correct code. So the next 4, we are recommending a partial exemption on, and I will go through each item as to the amount of the partial and why. And then the final 6, we are recommending denial, and I will do the same on those. So again,
Before you move forward,
Yeah.
I believe you're missing one. I could be wrong, but it looks to me like the first application that's included is Connecting Point, and I do not see them anywhere on your list. Connecting Point Church.
Connecting Point is the 12 Rocks is the
Oh,
the
that's
official
what it's
name
called?
of theirs. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
all right,
Yeah,
thanks
so-
for that clarification.
Yep, not a problem. So I will, I guess, jump right into the partial approvals. So the first partial approval here actually is the Connecting Point, the 12 Rocks. So what this property is over here on, let me get the 2541 North 11th Street. 12 Rocks, or the Connecting Point, purchased that back in 2024. So there was a former grocery store and then 2 separate commercial strips. So they are using Suite 1, Suites 2 through 4, and Suites 5 and 6. So the remainder of the space there is leased out for non-exempt purposes. So the exemption that we are recommending approval on is just what is being used for the church purposes. So for that one, we are recommending a 51.86% exemption on.
That's based on square footage? then?
Correct, yeah. So it's based on the square footage that is used, since this is, all of these technically are commercial properties. It's based on the income approach is where that value comes from. Okay.
Questions on that one, commissioners?
And if you'd like to see, I've got a kind of a diagram of specifically what they're using.
If you could show the diagram,
course.
that'd be great. This is a church that sold their church and moved into a strip mall. Their old location was right up on 70th Street.
Yeah, so if we look over here on the top section on this Suite 1, that is a former daycare that they are now using for their Kids Connect area. I believe they moved into that section and started using it full-time on the 4th of May, according to the email that they had sent us. This section over here, they have used for some Christmas putt-putt golf things, and that will be their eventual worship center. They have plans and have started the renovation of that section. That was the former grocery store. Currently, they have completely renovated this section over here to where they have meetings, smaller worship sessions over there, and then everything else is leased out that is not in the red boxes.
So they own it's the whole thing.
Yep, they own all of it, including the parcels back behind as well.
Oh, wow.
But those are not included in this application.
Okay. Will they apply separately for those other parcels, most likely, or?
I would assume so, but at this point, they have not. Okay, any additional
Anything else
questions?
on that one?
All right, and again, the amount that we are recommending on that is 51.86%.
Exemption.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, then the next one on the list here is Bryan Medical Center. And on this one, we are recommending 92.34% exemption. And that is just the amount, the remaining amount is leased out and not being used by Bryan. So the total square footage of the building is 80,529 square feet. They are leasing out 6,170 square feet. So 92.34% of the building is exempt and being used by Bryan.
Okay.
Okay. And the next one on our list is the Islamic Foundation parcel 002. So this one, I will put up a diagram as well, but for this particular parcel, it has two sections of it. And on here, northernmost section of the parcel has this house on it. This house is not being used for a religious purpose at the time, the house and the garage. However, the south portion, you can see back here, is used as a parking lot for the church. It's overflow parking, in which you can see on the day I was there, they had their buses parked back there. So on this one, we are recommending that the land be exempt and the house and the improvements upon that section be taxable. So when you divide it out, that comes to, the land is 70,000. The total value of the parcel is 245,800. So that comes out to a 28.48% exemption that we are recommending for this parcel.
And this group is what again?
This is the Islamic Foundation of Lincoln.
Okay. And there are two of them listed here, so
Yep.
this is the first one?
Yep.
Or is this? Okay.
This is the first one that we will talk about. They're in the same area, but at the time of, it's further complicated because at the time of application, there were 4 separate parcels. They have since combined and it is now one parcel, but we're basing it off of the time of application when they were all separate parcels. And I can put up a diagram to go through that as well, just for clarity. So this was parcel ending in 002, 1115-205-002. The second parcel, I guess the second one is for the partial is in Raymond, Nebraska. But I guess to further expand, just so you understand what the current one that we're talking about, this is how it was set up at the time of application. And you can see 002 is both this parcel and this parcel. So the house is on this north portion, and then the vacant lot is over here. The religious facility is over here on 4. So the overflow parking serves directly to this. Just as an idea of what it looks like on our GIS map. And then here is the actual, what it looks like now, with the house being on this portion, this being overflow parking for there. Okay. All right. Any other questions on that one before I move to the next?
And what was the 28% both tracks, or is that just the first
Yeah,
one?
so just on, again, it's a little confusing since this is the same parcel, but it's divided up with an alley in the middle. So the 28% is for this parcel combined.
Okay.
with the value not being exempt where the house and the garage are, and the exempt on the parking behind. So then we will move to the next one. And on that is also the Islamic Foundation of Lincoln. But what this one is a cemetery on near Raymond, Nebraska. And this is what the site looks like. The cemetery itself is this section right here. So we have it listed on our GIS maps of this front space here being used for the cemetery. We're assuming this building here is used for the cemetery operations. As it was described to us, there's a gate right here, so we weren't able to go in and inspect it, but that was what we were told and what was written on the application. The remainder of the land over here is not used for the cemetery purpose at this time. If they do expand into that, we can consider it at that time. But with the information that we have now, the cemetery is only being used on this section over here, which is 6.29 acres. The remainder of the land we are recommending to be taxable. So exemption for the cemetery and the building for cemetery maintenance. The remainder we are recommending taxable status.
You know, I'm just curious, is it being actually used as a cemetery at this point?
There are a few graves out there. It's not a lot, but it is being used as a cemetery. Okay. They put in this walkway here. To get back here, it is, they have it all fenced off, so yes, they have begun the process. And they have a nice website that shows exactly when they started and their process of acquiring the land as well.
Okay.
Okay. So I believe that concludes the partials. So then I will move to the 6 recommendations of denial. 4 of these all will be denied, or we're recommending denied, for the same reason. That reason is we're trying to remain consistent in treating them all the same way, which we will discuss here in one moment. So the first one is the Fresh Start Incorporated. So on that, this is a property that the Fresh Start owns the adjacent building. They purchased a dilapidated house and have removed the dilapidated house, and now the land is entirely vacant. It is not being used at the moment for parking or anything like that. It is just vacant land. And our rationale for recommending denial of this comes from the Nebraska Administrative Code, Title 350, Chapter 40, Section 005.04F, which addresses how to handle vacant lots. And this says a qualifying organization buys a vacant lot for future use as a building site. However, this land is held idle for several years. No exemption is allowed for the tax years during which the vacant land sits idle because this land is not used for an exempt purpose. So we are basing our recommendation off of what is written in the administrative code there.
If they were to begin using it for their purpose in any way, they could then potentially qualify, correct?
Yes, if they would begin using the purpose, if they would show us plans saying we've met with an architect, we're going to start building on this date, at that point, the land would be used exclusively and it would not be, it would not be used for any other purpose, then yes, we would reconsider.
It wouldn't even have to be building, right? Like they could put a playground there if it's connected to their
If
service.
that would be an exclusive use that would, I guess, keep it from being used as anything other than incidental, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Then the next one is again back on the Islamic Foundation of Lincoln. That I have a picture of the specific lot in question. So this lot is again on that same site. The lot they have applied for here is right back here. So where the boat is, there's a tree line. It's this lot there. On both occasions when I inspected this property, there was no religious use for this land. There was, at this point, there's a tree line here, so it's not being used for any type of religious activity. There was no parking over there. It just, at the moment, is just sitting idle. So on that one, I'm also recommending denial 425. Okay, any questions? All right, the next one is the Millard United Sports. On this one, it is a personal property request. This we consulted with our attorney, Jennifer Crystal Clark, and she advised us in an email dated April 22nd that she would recommend denial of this one due to it not being used exclusively for charitable use. This is a baseball facility that they lease out to, or I guess anyone can rent space in there for batting cages. I think there's a pitching facility in there as well.
Did you say it's because it's not exclusive?
Yes, it is not being used exclusively as a charitable use.
Is the, and help me understand that a little bit more.
On there, they charge baseball teams to come use, and so they are making a profit on that one. It is.
Well, nonprofits can do that, and that can be part of their exempt status.
Yeah, but this with this particular one anyway, when she had reviewed it, that's what she had. She was in agreement that the Millard United Sports should not be considered a charity under this. She reviewed the statute and the administrative code, and that was her recommendation to us at that time.
Okay.
Who is it that made that recommendation?
Our attorney, Jennifer Crystal Clark.
No, but she's not part of the county attorney's office?
Yeah.
She is part of the county attorney's office. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. She's normally here, but she's on vacation at the moment.
Just out of curiosity, is anyone from Millard United Sports here this morning? And they've been notified of this decision, right?
They've been notified that we're having a meeting today. That's the decision is not final at this point. We're just
Decision's not been made.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're making our recommendations to the board.
I see. Okay.
Okay. The next is the Nebraska Cattlemen Building. On this one, we are recommending denial. Again, based on the Nebraska Administrative Code, Title 350, Chapter 40. This one is from Section 4. On this one, it says, Section 4, 004.03a, an agricultural and horticultural society does not include an association which devotes a substantial part of its activities to attempting to influence legislation, or which provides money, services, or endorsements to influence any political campaign for public office. With the Nebraska Cattlemen's Association, per their website, that they're an organization that hopes to influence support for legislation for the cattlemen of Nebraska.
Read that again for me.
Yes, sir. An agricultural and horticultural society does not include an association which devotes a substantial part of its activities to attempting to influence legislation, or which provides money, services, or endorsements to influence any political campaign for public office.
Yes, the significant word there to me is substantial, and that's where nonprofits are always being very cautious to not make sure that they're doing a substantial. So what makes you determine that they are doing a substantial amount other than it says on their website that's part of what they do?
On their website, that's a predominant factor on there. And this also, as well as the last one, we discussed with our attorney, and she also concluded the recommendation for denial was appropriate.
We have a legal opinion.
That's on the same email from April 22nd.
Because I know the Nebraska Cattleman does a lot more than advocate for that. And so,
Okay.
Okay.
Have they in the past been exempted?
No. This was their first application.
Okay.
Do we know if they're exempt in other counties?
Do not know that.
You don't know?
No, oh, sorry. No, I do not know that.
Okay.
Any further questions on that one?
We may come back to this one. Let's go
Okay.
on.
Not a problem. The next one is the Newman Center, St. Thomas Aquinas. This is a vacant lot on campus. Same principle as the other vacant lots. At the moment, it is not being used exclusively for religious purposes. That we have not been submitted, or there have been no plans for any new buildings submitted on this lot. Previously, there was a dilapidated building on it. They have since removed it, and now it has set for over a year as just the vacant lot.
There was one that I don't think we addressed, Duncan Hilltop
Oh,
Foundation.
did I miss that one? I apologize. Yep, so the Duncan Hilltop, yes. On that one, the same idea. With the vacant lot, there was a dilapidated house on that as well. They have recently, in the last month, removed that house, but at the moment that is just a vacant lot, and there's nothing happening on that lot that precludes it from any other use. So this is just a vacant lot. There are trees on it, and there's, I guess, a hole where the house once was.
Very good. Any other questions for, I had your name earlier, but for
Jacob. Yeah.
Other questions for Jacob at this time? So we are still on public hearing B, the 451 exemption applications, which we've just gone through. Are there any members of the public wishing to speak on any of these properties that we have discussed?
Morning, we'll swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
My name is Monica Zinke. I'm here with Fresh Start.
Very good. Thank you.
I'm here to really answer any questions that you have about our application for that adjacent property that we were able to purchase. We had the really unexpected opportunity to buy that lot, excuse me, at 6441 Havelock that's immediately adjacent to us, with the original intent of rehabbing the dilapidated house. That ended up not being feasible with the amount that it needed, so we did demolish the house earlier this year, and so now it is an empty lot, as was described. What isn't accurate is that it's sitting idle. The shelter next door, we house up to 24 women at a time, and so we're currently using the lot as additional recreational space for them. Our lot, our patio, if some of you have been there, but it's really long and narrow, so the lot currently, while we're determining the plan, is an opportunity for them for if they move in and they'd like to plant more than what our current garden box allows, if they need additional space for when, for example, there was a resident last night that had her children come and visit, for little kids came to visit. I wasn't there, I don't know if they use the lot, but it is space for them if they'd like to. And we also have already begun talks with some of the communities, some of the churches and communities in Havelock about having activities for our residents on the lot, like a Fresh Start Field Day, for example, an outdoor movie night, to take advantage of the space while it's empty of buildings, and while we determine what we're going to build on there. Because it was very unexpected that we were able to purchase it, we didn't have a plan prior to purchase, so we are working on that as well. And then we have also the driveway is still there. The house is gone, but the driveway is still there. So we do sometimes use that for parking as well, for some overflow parking for that driveway space. So I'm happy to answer any other questions that you might have about it.
It sounds like to me that it is furthering your mission there with the recreational opportunities, gardening opportunities, outdoor activities, and parking. Given that information, does that meet the criteria you're looking at?
On this, I would still probably determine that to be incidental use. I believe there was a fence dividing the two properties, at least as of a few weeks ago. Just for us, for consistency, we are looking at the vacant lots all the same way, but the board, as we yield to your judgment as well. So.
There was a fence around the house that we purchased that is gone now. There is a fence around our original property. There's a gate right there that actually that was existing before for them to go in and out for the parking in the back of our property on the alley. So that gate, they can go in and out of that to directly access the new lot that we have. And if you drive by, it does 100% look like an empty lot because there's nothing on it, but that's the uses that we are using for it now. So there is direct access from our patio at 6433 to the new property that we have.
The fence does not inhibit access.
No, there's a gate right there.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead and then I'll.
I was just going to note that one of the other applications had, I think it was the Islamic Foundation. It was recommended to approve the exemption because they were using it for parking. So I guess to me, that's more of an apples to apples than comparing it to a vacant lot.
So yeah,
sure. Yeah, I'd agree with you on that. I'd be inclined to approve this.
Yeah, and so, Dave, just to make sure we're clear on the process, these are the proposals, the recommendations we're receiving. We need to make a decision or seek more information on whether we accept or modify the recommendations. Is that right?
This is the public hearing process.
Right.
We have action items following this. So this is a good time for deliberation. If you would like to get any further information to help clarify any questions you have, I would advise not closing the public hearing on this, returning next week and making your decision. If you have all the information you need today, then you can close the public hearing and move on to the
Okay, very good.
Would we be permitted to take action on a portion but leave the public hearing open for a portion of them?
procedurally complex. I would advise just.
If we're going to wait on anything, we wait on everything.
I would just hold the whole thing.
Well, I think we're in agreement on Fresh Start. I mean, this seems to me meets the criteria. I'm hearing Chelsea and Matt say they both support that. So we will, let's make sure I'm on the right line here. Instead of denial, we would move that to approval. Is that what I'm hearing?
That would be my intent to
Same.
approve it.
Chelsea, okay. So we'll just note that Fresh Start moves from denial to approval. Are there any others that we need more information? Okay, thank you, Monica, for being here. Appreciate it. Yeah, before we do that, anyone else here from the public wishing to discuss any of the properties that we have been presented with on item B? Seeing no other members of the public, I guess I just put it to the commissioners. Are there other properties that you see where we would not receive the recommendation of the?
I would be interested in Chelsea's question as far as whether Nebraska Cattleman is getting, because as I look at it, It looks to me like a portion of what they do is some advocacy, but it does not look like that's the majority of what they do. Maybe I'm misunderstanding.
No, I think that's right, and I would wonder too about how we are treating other entities like the Nebraska Farm Bureau or Farmers Union or other ag groups that have similar sort of multifaceted approaches to their work.
Have any of those applied for, that you're aware of, Jacob? Do you know?
You said the Farm Bureau, who else?
If they're nonprofits, though.
So no distinctions between them since they haven't applied. Well, okay, so the question, commissioners, is what are we looking for here? Because it sounds like it's centering around just the one.
Well,
I actually kind of shared some of Matt's, well, I think what Matt was saying around the Millard United Sports Foundation too, because
yeah, good catch.
those points around like nonprofits can do activities to raise money.
That raise funding.
Yeah.
That was my question. I agree with that one. The fact that they've developed a property, that they are a nonprofit, about to get an opinion. The fact that they rent the property out for private groups to use and then use that to fund a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite.
It's kind of different because it's not property, it's the contents that are being exempted. So it's, I don't know. I'd like some time to just think about that one and poke that one around, kick that one around a little bit, because it's just the nets and the...
Well, they have a building and this
Yeah.
equipment's indoors, or, I mean, I guess.
Yeah, that's the way I understand it, is that it's a large building, personal property that then Millard...
The property is privately owned.
The
personal property owned by Millard Sports.
inside of the privately owned building.
Oh. Well, how does it become a nonprofit then? I mean, what's the criteria?
The property, the real property is what you would say like is the building. So the real property is owned by an individual. The contents of the building is owned by presumably a tax exempt nonprofit, and they're wanting to have the personal property exempted.
Andrew.
Real quick, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
Andrew Barnes, Lancaster County Attorney's Office. So I was also consulted by Ms. Clark to give an opinion on the Millard baseball facility. So I agree with Commissioner Johnson's concern that, you know, when it comes to nonprofits, they can have events to raise money. The issue, and I think the distinction in this point is that with the Millard baseball field, they're charging for both instances where they're raising money for just events, but they are also charging money all the time. So you're not only just charging money for just to events to raise money, but for day to day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And so that's a legal distinction as to why both Jennifer, I, as well as Dan, recommend that, well, this goes beyond the taxable exemption for a nonprofit.
So it really is more run like a business then. It's like
exactly
show up, rent our
if you're charging for if you're charging almost like a business, then you can't really hide behind the guise of a nonprofit raising money for events and stuff like that.
Let me venture out on a limb and see if this makes sense, Andrew. If a church has a church dinner, a fish fry on Friday nights for 6 weeks a year, that goes to the funding of the church, that still qualifies as a nonprofit. If 6 days a week they operate a cafe and serve money and serve food and collect money, that would be a different criteria? Is that what we're saying here? I might have put you on the spot.
Well, so that's getting into the First Amendment, and so the law.
I withdraw the question. Did I ever say?
Yeah, and currently there's a case in front of the Supreme Court that would more than likely extend protections to that with the archdiocese and stuff like that. So
I withdraw it.
I'm not sure that you're trying to make a distinction, Andrew, that I don't think is very clear. You're trying to say that you can only charge money for things that are fundraisers, but how would you ever determine what is a fundraiser? I mean, that doesn't seem like a clear line to me.
The distinction is that if the actual event is open to the general public during normal business operation hours, and it makes no distinction based on, what the activity is. Because when you've operated nonprofits before and stuff like that. When you're just doing these specific events that are limited in time and space to just generate these funds, you're not doing it all the time. You're only just doing it for a limited time purpose. Whereas with the Millard facility, what we have noticed, and I think this is an agreement between both of our office, this isn't just a limited time. This is all the time. So again, it's acting more towards an actual business operation rather than a nonprofit situation to where it's only just limited just to generate funds for an event or just to, I don't want to say to get by, but just to generate enough money to sponsor an event or to go on a trip or something like that.
I'm still not seeing that. I mean, I feel like if you're a nonprofit that's doing your work and the equipment's being used for that work, unless you can see exactly that they are charging, if you have some insight to prove that they're charging every single day, I don't know how you would have gotten that. Because if a nonprofit owns it and they're using it 25% of the time for their own thing, like, how would you know that? How would we know that?
We have an employee that his son's baseball team that has no affiliation with the Millard United Foundation, that they rent that space out.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but does Millard United Foundation use it 50% of the time for themselves? That's my question. I mean, if we don't have any insight into that information, I don't know that we can really make a business delineation there.
But it does sound like a business model, doesn't it? I mean, there are for-profit facilities that say, you can come use our batting cages at any point in time. What's the difference here?
Presumably the difference is this one's founded as a nonprofit. You can live in an apartment that is owned by a for-profit or live in an apartment that's owned by a nonprofit, and the tax structure is vastly different.
With an ultimate difference in the goals they're achieving. So I guess what's the goal of the...
the Millard might be giving free use of their equipment to teams from at-risk neighborhoods on a very regular basis.
Might be. That'd be a good thing.
They include it. Is their entire application what we have available to us? Okay.
In here somewhere.
Yeah, it's page.
They don't really it does not go into detail.
Correct.
No.
Yeah.
All they have to do is say that do is say they're using it for an exempt purpose.
Yeah, I don't know that we have enough information.
What would help us cross the line?
I would say what would help us understand that?
Equipment place into service, turf, lighting, netting.
A similar question might be asked about, they're clearly not based in Lancaster County, they're called Millard. They're based in, one thing that could help us understand is how are they being treated in other counties, similar to the Cattlemen's?
Have they ever, or have they consistently been given an exemption? Do you guys know?
Just the first
Millard United. This is their first year for application.
Says they just bought this equipment too.
It says, we provide an indoor practice development facility for youth softball and baseball teams. And we could add safely at a cost. So I guess where's the, and it may be there, but I'm saying, where is the charitable activity here? What is it? Wait, there's nothing here to.
I'm actually pulling up their 990 right now, and they do clearly have a charitable. I mean, they've been approved by the IRS for it.
Okay. What's their, do they have a mission
It
statement?
says the mission of Millard United Sports is to provide the highest quality youth sports programs that serve players of all abilities in the metro area. Athletic competition helps young people grow in confidence, loyalty, teamwork, sportsmanship, and skill.
Big mission. My experience with baseball teams is you can get on as good a team as your talent and your checkbook will allow.
I would say I'd like a little bit of time to kick this one around a little bit too.
Right. So we will. So in other words, per Dave's advice, we will hold the entire list. I guess if we have specific questions that we want answers to, then we should make that clear to Jacob. And we're going to need to do this in a very timely manner because you're under some deadline. Is that correct? When these have to be clarified by us?
So we'll have to, I believe, so I believe next Tuesday is when we
is the deadline.
So we'll have to schedule another BOE. We will leave this hearing open, item B open, and come back to these items. But I guess if we have specific information we want from Jacob before we make a decision, we should make it clear to him what our expectations are. And I guess we can do that this afternoon.
Okay.
But not Tuesday morning and not Monday because he will not be at work on Monday.
That's right. We got Memorial Day, don't we?
So, saying that, I think we will suspend, recess. We will recess.
I have a specific.
Oh, sure.
I have a specific thing that would be helpful to know with the cattlemen.
Okay.
Is just, are they exempt in other counties? I mean, they're a large organization that's been around for a long time. So.
Okay.
And I'd just say that same question about Millard.
Yeah.
Good.
It does say, so I have their 990 pulled up right now. It says they qualify as an organization that normally receives more than 33% of its support from contributions, member fees, gross receipts. No more than it, yeah. So anyways, they do qualify as a 501c3 according to their 990.
33% is on donations.
Yeah.
I mean, 66% is coming from
Fees at some point, or whether that's not necessarily just rental, but you play for the team, you pay an annual fee kind of thing.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for that. All right, Jacob. Thank you. Andrew. Thank you. With that, we will recess item B and move on to item C, the public hearing.
Yes, our third public hearing is the following motor vehicle tax exemption applications for Bryan Medical Center and the Lincoln Lancaster Habitat for Humanity.
We will now open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on the motor vehicle tax exemption applications? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. And just to be clear, we did close the public hearing on item A and item C, and we recessed the public hearing on item B to be resumed next Tuesday. Mr. Clerk, we'll move on then.
Commissioners, item 4, public hearing action items, beginning with 4A, the notices of proposed change in exemption status.
Are we just accepting these, or are we taking action on these?
We'll take action on A and C.
Okay. So, I'm still a little confused. I understand we're taking action. Is the action to just accept them?
Yeah, to approve the.
Or approve them?
Yeah.
Oh, we're approving sending out the notices. I move approval that we send out the notices of proposed change in exemption status 4A.
Second.
Okay. Motion and a second to approve. Item 4A, please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Schulte?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes.
Motion carries. We'll skip over 4B. 4C, the motor vehicle tax exemption applications.
I move approval of the tax exempt applications.
Second.
Motion second to approve, please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Schulte?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes.
Motion carries. Brings us to item 5, public comment. Members of the public wishing to speak on items related to County Board of Equalization business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
Are there any members of the public wishing to speak on items related to the County Board of Equalization? Yes, sir. Good morning. You don't have to be sworn in for public comment.
For public comment, I want some clarification. I was sent a letter that there'd be a determination today on a tax exemption application that we had applied for. And so I was checking to make sure if we were on. Yes, this is the Wichita Audubon Prairie Pines.
Yes, and that was recommended for approval.
Was that one of the first 9?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it will be,
Right? But it'll be held over.
it'll be
Okay.
considered officially
Okay.
next
I
week.
didn't hear it during the first 9. I just heard that the first 9 were approved and then the 4 that were denied, or the
Yeah.
6 that were
Very
denied. So-
good.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. There wasn't an agenda out front, so I wasn't able to follow along.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that, yeah, both properties are on the approval list, and
That's the, yeah. Yep.
you haven't said anything that'll make us change our mind.
If
Thank
you have
you.
any questions for me, I'm here today and I can answer them, so.
Thank you for your patience. Anyone else wishing to make public comment? If not, we'll close public comment.
Item 6 is adjournment.
Move we adjourn?
Second,
Sound reluctant?
I did. I don't know why, but
Motion and second to adjourn, please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Schulte?
yes.
Vest?
Yes.
Motion carries.
We are adjourned, thank you. We'll now sign and take a break and then come back for the Lancaster County budget hearings.
You just wanted to keep talking about nonprofits.